Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Leadnap Gaming. This week we're getting ready for the annual sale and we're going to talk about getting the ships you want the best way you possibly can.
Systems activating. Systems on.
Have you ever just gone to the RSI website and thought, why can't I buy that one ship I just really want? Don't have 27 grand lying around to buy a Legatus pack to get that ship? I don't. Fear not, citizen. Every November, Cloud Imperium Gaming rolls out the annual sale, and every concept ship is available for sale. Unfortunately, CIG still misses the memo and makes this sale initially complicated to understand and get the ship you're after. Today, though, I'm going to tell you how to secure all the ships you want to buy, how to get them with LTI if you want, and how to do it all with less than $200. First, however, a disclaimer. You are about to spend real money on a concept. You're putting non-refundable money into a dream that is on its way to realization, but may not be realized as you dreamt it, nor in the near future. CIG tells you this in small print, but I'm putting it front and center. Semantics aside, you are essentially spending money on something with no value and no promise of value. If you're worried that you're going to spend money and be ripped off because Star Citizen doesn't release in 2021, don't spend the money. At the same time, if you're not paying your bills so you can buy ships, don't. Don't let CIG's marketing get you either. With few exceptions, almost the entire catalog of Star Citizen's ships are available for sale multiple times per year. Furthermore, later in this video, I'm going to show you how to afford your dream ships with money you don't have to spend today. Let's break down how the annual sale typically works. And I say typically because CIG always alters it a little bit year to year, but the framework is generally the same, and if I wait to make this until the sale's upon us, you won't have time to plan. CIG usually breaks the sale into days. Day 1 might be Anvil, Day 2 Drake. Some manufacturers get lumped together, like all the alien races or in previous years Crusader because they had no ships in game. I suspect though this year Crusader's the main event. Now, each new day opens a new manufacturer, but fear not, usually after a manufacturer opens, they stay open. So if Anvil is day 1, you can buy Anvil all the remaining days of the sale too. Normally in game, this all corresponds with an inverse convention where you can browse the in-game ships, usually at Area 18 in the Bevik Convention Center. This is a nice see it before you buy for ships at a concept. Also this year, keep in mind that you can rent all of those ships too if you have the UEC to try before you buy, which I strongly recommend. Now, for the most part, this means you don't need to pay too close attention for what days are what. There are 2 exceptions. If you're trying to get everything you want for less than $200, or you're after the most special of ships. There are 3 groups of ship for sale during the sale. You have your in-game ships, self-explanatory. You have concept ships, ships that are not yet flyable. And the third category matters most though. These are the rare ships. CIG intends both for balance, but really for cash, to limit certain ships. Take the Javelin, for example. Yes, the mighty destroyer-class monster will probably be sold at this year's sale. However, they're probably only going to sell 1 or 2. That means you better not only have the cash on hand, but your F5 game better be on point. Normally, the reserve ships sell in lots of a few hundred, and often at times there will be multiple lots. Let's use a better example, the A2 bomber. Now, CIG may only allow 1,000 of these to be sold this year, and they will break that down in number further into war bond and credit offerings. If you're really new, war bond simply means you're paying cash. Credit offerings means you have credit from CIG from melting ships you did pay cash for. War bond are usually a few dollars less expensive. So, out of the 1,000 offered, when Crusader Day opens, 200 A2s may become immediately available. Of those, 50 might be credit and 150 war bond. A few hours later, another lot will drop with the same sorts of numbers, and by the end of the day, all 1,000 offered will have been sold. If you want one of these special reserved ships, your best bet is to go war bond. The demand here is far less, and there's always more offered in this segment. Be ready to try in all the different lots though, and have your payment information pre-saved on the RSI website. Generally all capital ships are reserved, as well as some others like the A2. There's another offering in these, however, worthy of your consideration, but equally demanded. the cross-chassis upgrade. These are also sold in limited quantities by lot, and there is plenty of demand because the cost is much lower. But you have a second distinct advantage in that the CCU selection requires an additional page, slowing down the F5 champions. Also, knowledge of this is not as widespread. You can also look for special editions like Best in Show and other convention offerings. These are additional limited options on some limited ships and are simply a different paint job. That's how the sale works, so save your money and be ready for the best time of year in Star Citizen. But what if you don't have a lot of money? What if you don't trust CIG not to ruin your dream concept? Well, I have a technique for you. It is possible to use the annual sale as a reservation system, putting in reservations on ships you want or think you might want, all for next to nothing. For example, on any given day of the year, I can add a Polaris to my fleet. I don't worry about when these become available, and I don't worry about making sure I get one in this year's sale. This is utilizing 3 misunderstood tools CIG gives players to keep giving them money. Remember that last part, because while they certainly could change this, they have good reason not to, you'll see. The first tool is this, the cross-chassis upgrade. This is the tool used to turn ships, or chassis, you own into a ship you want. For example, most players don't drive that old Mustang around anymore. They applied a CCU to it to make it into something better. The CCU system is fantastic, but often misused. If your idea was to turn your Mustang Beta into a Carrack, for example, that's going to cost you around $450 to pull off. Ouch. There's a better way, especially with limited funds in a limited window. The distance from Mustang to Carrack is massive. The distance from Prowler to Carrack is not. But Led, I don't own a Prowler. This is the first trick to master. Don't CCU major jumps. Correct, you don't have a Prowler, but the CCU from an Aquila to a Prowler isn't bad either, and the Aquila is always on sale. What that means is we really only need to produce the money now to bridge the Aquila to Carrack gap. Now, you won't be flying your Carrack after you put the money down this way, but you'll be able to make payments on that Carrack. Furthermore, you should consider that you don't even really need to cover the Aquila to Carrack gap either. For that, we need the other tool, which is buyback. Now, this is really 2 tools and is one of the most misunderstood CIG offerings out there. Let's say you have 3 ships, that Mustang, an Ares Inferno, and a Cuddy Black. The Mustang is your game package, and if you melt that, you can't play. The Inferno and Cuddy, on the other hand, should be considered liquid assets. You could melt these for their value today. Melting will send the ship into your buyback, a part of your hangar where CIG will let you rebuy ships you already bought. Melt the Cuddy, and you can always buy it again. Odds are that Inferno you purchased has LTI because it's a concept ship you've only been able to buy during a concept release. The awesome news here is that package is again the one that you would purchase again from buyback. If your Cuddy was the best in show version from last year's sale, again, that's the one you would be buying back. So the first really good news is this annual sale, if you melted your existing fleet except your game package, you could free up credit to buy that dream ship. Of course, you'll have to give CIG real money at some point to put those melted ships back in your hangar. Now here's the kicker. You can melt CCUs too. This is huge, and leveraging this is what will allow you to take modest money today and get everything you want with it. The lights are probably going on now. But slow down there, Sparky. There are some rules you have to know and plan around. Most importantly, there's a 24-hour timer. Don't think you can just roll in there the last day of the sale and buy and melt and buy and melt. You can't. What you can do, though, is buy stuff day 1 and melt it after 24 hours and buy stuff on day 2. This means if Anvil is sold day 1, you can buy that Prowler to Carrack CCU for $50. And then on day 5, when Asperia is sold, melt that and buy the Aquila to Prowler CCU with some of that cost being the initial $50 that went into the Carrack CCU. What this really means is if you take the time now before the show and plan what to buy what days, you can literally buy every ship you might want during this single sale and pay for them later. I found you can do it with less than $200 for the entire show. A few tips in doing so. 1. Plan your hops. And always use a seed ship that's always for sale. Some of my favorite seeds are the Aquila, Prospector, and 300i. 2. Remember, you cannot CCU down. Each CCU must add value. This is why it's very important to consider that even though I might be able to get closer in value to make the CCU less expensive, the Prospector is more universal than the Cuddy Black. Some fighters sold cost more than the Cuddy, but never more than the $150 Prospector. It's easy to CCU to a Prospector. A little bit harder to do that to the Cuddy Black. 3. Know the hops and secure all of them during the sale. This means don't buy a Prowler to Carrick CCU and leave it there. You also need to get the CCUs to get there from the seed, in this case, the Aquila. 4. Depend on CIG. Selecting your seeds universally and carefully matters, but in 2021, CIG could change their minds and no longer make the Aquila available all the time. Where you have spare funds in this system, grab a few seed-to-seed CCUs as well. Even if the seed planned isn't always available, now you have the means to make it happen. Leaving a few melted seed-to-seed CCUs in your buyback bin will cost you nothing. 5. One last thing. Anything purchased with credit cannot be gifted. Don't think you're going to clean house here and make real money on the gray. Nor will you be able to hook your friends up with what you secure in the sale. Now there is another step to this dance. LTI. Remember I said you could get LTI on anything you wanted this sale? You can, and all without being concierge. The CCUs you buy deliver this magic. If you just buy the ship you want in the sale, you're going to have whatever insurance offerings CIG throws on it. Probably 3 months. Don't even bother with ship buys unless it's a limited ship and that's the only way to it. Just buy CCUs. The key to this is patience and pre-planning. You need to buy LTI tokens throughout the year when they become available. If you go try to buy LTI tokens right now on the gray market, you're going to get hosed. The prices always rise this time of year because of this. This is why CIG releases multi-packs of smaller concept ships. They know you're going to buy them for this reason. Now, if you don't have them, be patient. In the next 3 to 6 months, multiple new concepts will be released, and one of them will be inexpensive. In our 3-ship example, if you can't be patient, apply these onto that Ares you own. But I want the Ares and I want LTI on it. Yes, but the Ares isn't in game yet, and you want that Carrick now. Put the Carrick on the Ares, and buy an Ares CCU. Next time CIG throws a $50 concept with LTI out there, snap one up, and apply a CCU from that to the seed, and then get your Ares back. Now the Carrick and the Ares both have LTI. If you don't have an LTI token, hold on to your really expensive ship CCUs like the Polaris. You don't want to apply them just because you can to something that doesn't have LTI, unless you've got a lot of money, at which point you're probably not paying attention to what I say. So this is great, and it seems like you're cheating the system. First, you're not. And I'll explain that in a moment, but to do so, you should understand why CIG would allow this and, more importantly, continue to allow it. Last sale, I put $10,000 worth of ships into my buyback bin. And with a few exceptions, just about every ship I might want is in there. Now, mind you, that's $10,000 worth of total ship. I put probably $4,000 worth of CCUs in, and the remaining 6Gs is seed costs. I did that with actually using $210 in credit from melting my Corsair. I did actually put some extra money into the system later on, but that was just for convenience and 1 or 2 buys that made it easier for me to eliminate some seeds. Point is, I picked up $10,000 worth of ship for almost nothing. However, CIG knows this horrible truth. If I want these ships, I have to give them $10,000. The scarcity marketing model CIG uses is meant to make you buy things when they're available because you fear they won't be later. If you are on the fence giving CIG $500, this marketing scheme compels you to go in because you might not get the chance later, so you got to do it now. The catch is, even if these are in my buyback, allowing me to buy them whenever I want instead of when CIG sells them, CIG still pockets the money, and I'm more likely to give it to them. After all, the ship's already in my hangar. It's just behind a paywall. They're even more likely to make the sale to me this way than if they made me wait. This means on some random June day when I'm feeling impulsive, I might go buy that Polaris, versus hoping that when they roll that 30-day window out at some point in the year, I'm feeling impulsive and have the cash to spend. Understand before you go down this road, you're putting yourself in a position to spend the money because you can, and more so because you can and others cannot. It's much harder for most people to not buy stuff in their buyback they want than if they didn't have it there at all. Still, CIG could pull the plug on this, so if you built your dream fleet this year in buyback, just know what you don't put live into your hangar could eventually not be available to you to do so. Items in buyback you have no monetary value, so CIG can empty it at leisure. There you have it. We've covered how the sale works, how to maximize your fleet at this year's sale. Let's talk about it in the comments, and don't forget that being subscribed and commenting increase your chances to win a ship in December. Like and share this video, subscribe if you haven't, and I will catch you all next time.